Hello everyone, welcome to the final prequel for Unsung Fury. That is right, the next episode is going to be the entire full cast. I'm super duper excited, but today is my prequel and I'm like, I don't know, are you excited, Frank?
I'm excited to possibly kill you. Scott, by the way, has been hinting that I should stab you through the chest with a vibro spear, and I don't know what this is about. Apparently you did something to him and he wants revenge.
Who?
Scott.
Oh, yeah, he's not gonna get over that, will he?
What did you do to him?
I might have murdered his face in a Star Wars campaign, maybe. I mean, who knows who Kyle is, right? No one cares about him. Let the robot revolution take over.
Oh, wait, was that Tara that killed him?
That was Tara, yeah.
Oh,
spoilers.
Free will.
Free will.
Oh.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that campaign was awesome. If you haven't checked that out, that's over at Lost Initiative Show. If you're interested in some Star Wars action, it's over on their YouTube channel. We have ended that campaign since then. But, yeah, so if you don't know what Unsung Fury is, it is a Warhammer 40K Wrath Glory show, which is going to be starting next week on the 8th of July, and it's gonna be insane. We're gonna have our full cast there. You've gotten to know all the characters except for Ostara, and today you're gonna get to meet Ostara and what she's all about. I pre-warning, it's gonna be a lot of emotions and it will get dark and creepy and crazy, so if you're not ready for those emotions at any point, you're welcome to step away, because Psyker lore is
it's depressing.
It's dark, okay? And not everyone is willing to go there. So just putting that out there. Of course, if you want to support the show, you can go ahead, and I'm going to just put ! retweet in the chat. You want to click that and you can just retweet it and put a little favorite and heart on it. It is super duper appreciated. Don't kill me. And it just helps as much. I might not seem like it helps a ton, but it does. Of course, you can also follow us right here on twitch.tv/MargaretCrone, or if you're watching on the YouTube's Margaret Crone Plays. And yeah, just supporting the channels really helps, and it helps like a ton. You don't even know. But if you're willing to help in a monetary way, because I do pay my cast, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, which allows you to get some cool emotes and all of that jazz, as well as you can also donate to the channel to help support it in other ways. I am going to probably change the donation stuff to be off, and then at the end of every episode I will read the donations and the messages for them, just because I've realized that it's really distracting in the middle of an emotional thing, and then all of a sudden you just hear some text-to-speech stuff, so I got to figure out how to turn that off.
Madcap.
Yeah. So that is a thing that's going to happen, and I think that kind of covers all of that stuff. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. Of course, first and foremost, Frank, let us know who you are and what you're all about before we get things started and kicked off.
Hello, today as my ever-naming changing name goes,
Emperor?
I am Inquisitor. You should check Roll20. I change my name on there every session.
Yeah, you
Inquisitor do. Frank today.
Ah, Inquisitor Frank today, sorry.
That's why I'm wearing a pirate shirt, because that makes... It has a skull. Really it's close enough.
Make that... Okay.
If I had the shirt, I would wear it, but it's a skull. As you all know, I am the game master here, the storyteller, and the judge and executioner. I'm not the jury, because that's all of you guys. And I just disregard you whenever you tell me not to kill someone.
That is hearsay. Death to all. Yeah, so definitely give Frank a good old follow. His Twitter handle's right there as well, or you can yell at him or ask him questions. He's also on our Discord, as well as everybody else. If you do ! Discord in the Twitch chat, you'll know, and if you're watching on YouTube, it's down in the fold along with all the other links. I'm nervous, Frank. I don't think I need to introduce myself. I exist on this channel. This is my channel.
Who are you?
If you don't know, this is my channel. I do a lot of tabletop stuff. I'm in 7 games a week, so if you're interested in more stuff, I got you.
It's too much.
Yeah, just come watch.
How do you have time?
I don't know.
Why can't I do this?
I don't know. You can do this. Everyone can do this.
Should you? 7 games is so many games.
I know. I don't know. It just
I don't know
happens.
how you do it, Maggie.
It just happens,
It's
Frank.
crazy.
It just happens. Can't stop.
And did you even count your real life game in that one? No, so you're actually in 8 games.
No, I did. I did.
Okay.
Because it's the 3 on this channel, then the 2 on Roll For It, and then the 1 on Arvon's, and then my real life one. So there's 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I was like, did I? Maybe I didn't. No, I did.
No, thinking about that, I don't trust your numbers. You're in so many.
No, it's the 3 on here, and then the 2 on Roll For It, and then the 1 on Arvon's channel, and the real life one. That's 7.
And the ones that you randomly pick up every week.
Those don't count because they're not weekly.
100% count. You do it every 2 weeks. You're in another I'm in a one shot for the next month.
Well, that was a 4-episode thing. I was a guest for 4 episodes, which was a Starfinder show on Dark Galaxies Gaming's, which was really fun. I really, really had fun on Starfinder, and that character is just the most adorable, sweet, precious thing ever. And I hope she lives because her exit to the show was she was dying of a poison.
Yeah, no, she's just dead.
She probably is dead. But we'll find out.
Just like a star is going to... Oh, wait. Spoilers. No. Don't worry, guys. We'll introduce her new character next Monday.
Well, you take it away, Frank.
All right. Well... At that, we'll jump right into things. At the height of the Great Crusade, the crusade to reunite all of humanity in the 31st millennia, the Emperor's chosen son, his favorite, Horus Lupercal, betrayed us all. He turned a blind eye to humanity and instead embraced chaos. In the Siege of Terra, in the last battle of the heresy, he struck down Sanguinius, his favorite brother, an angel which was one of the most famed and kind Primarchs to ever grace the Empire. The Emperor attempted to appeal to Horus's humanity, to turn him back to the right path. And yet, despite this, Horus continued his assault on the Emperor until the Emperor had no choice but to kill his son. The Emperor is dead, Ostara. He sits on a golden throne which keeps him alive, just barely. Psykers are sacrificed in the millions. You will not be one of those, and I will make sure of that. And we pan out and we see in a small cottage, in a living room by a lit fire, a small child and a old man. He is warming his hands by the fire and telling this story to his granddaughter. And he looks at her and says, "We don't have much time, but your lessons are almost complete, but you are not ready yet."
What do you mean?
Our time is limited on how long I have to train you yet left. You will be on your own soon. But you must stay strong. But you must know all secret. The Emperor of mankind is a man. He is not a god. Do not worship him as much. That is not what he wanted for us. He wanted, above all, free thought and science. It is the ecclesiarchy and the Inquisition who hold us here in fear. You must remember this for your life, but tell no others that you do not trust with your heart.
That is not what Mama says.
Mama and Papa They are not. They are not correct. But trust me. You must trust me on this. But you must keep it secret. And you hear behind you heavy footsteps as your father walks into the room. And you can tell by his red face, he's shaking, and he is carrying a cup of recaf, which is coffee, in his hand, and he tosses it against the wall and begins to shout, "Father, you have gone too far. You must stop teaching her these lessons. I've contacted the magistratum. This is not acceptable. You cannot teach my daughter this heresy."
Papa, stop.
Astara, go to your room.
No. Leave Grandpapa alone.
And your grandfather just slowly, calmly remains in his seat, looking towards the fire now, and says, "You must remember this lesson. Not all will accept the truth, but you must, and you must hold it with you for all. The Emperor is dead, and he was a man, and I saw him with my own eyes. He will come back, but as a mortal, as a man." And your father runs over and grabs your grandfather by the cuffs of his shirt and lifts him up, this frail old man, and begins to shake him. "Silence! You will not teach my daughter these lessons. They are not true, and they are the ravings of a lunatic."
I like run to my father and I kind of like pull on him to try to make him stop.
Make an athletic check for me.
Okay. Skills. Oh, athletics and skills. Let's do an athletics check, which I'm gonna be really bad at. Okay.
I mean, you're a child. How old is Astara right now? Could you tell us a little about her?
How old is she in this scenario?
I picture she's still very young.
Like
about 8 years old.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, sorry if you guys can hear a bunch of stuff going on. There's people ringing my doorbell. It is, she's like 8 years old. She's kind of wearing just like very simple clothes, nothing, like she lives on a farm with her family. And, she has like red hair and it's probably like currently braided, and, really blue, bright eyes. She's not an attractive little girl. She's just kind of like average looking. Like, you know, some kids are really cute. She's not necessarily a super
like my
cute
nephew.
kid.
He's adorable.
Yeah. She's kind of like lanky and like skinny, and she's got pale skin and bright red hair. And
mutant. Oh, sorry, I'm not whispering mean things.
And she's like tugging at her father's legs.
Yeah.
And I rolled poorly. Well, not
very
bad.
much so.
Not that bad, but
yeah. So your father actually pushes you away onto the ground, and make a awareness check for me as well,
Okay.
before we can go on.
I will make an awareness check. Right.
Oh, perfect. All right. So just before we begin with more depression, I'll explain the rules a little more on this for anyone who does not know. The dice on Wrath and Glory are all D6s, and it's a point-based system. A 6 is called an exalted die. It counts as 2 points instead of 1. 5 and 4s count as 1 point. 1, 2, and 3, no points. So Maggie rolled a 2 on this one, which is actually exactly what I wanted. So, Astar, you hear at the front door of your little cabin just a loud knocking on the door. And you can't hear what they're saying, but you can hear somebody with a deep, gnarled voice shouting.
Can I listen in on what they're saying?
Yeah, if you want to.
Using my scry ability?
Ooh, yes, you can. Why don't you tell us what your scry ability is?
Okay, so my scry ability, I think I can just paste it into the chat here.
Yes. All right. So, for everybody who is uninitiated, Maggie, just give us a quick rundown of what scry is.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to get the audio. There's stuff going around me.
Mandy,
That I'm trying to make mute. The psyker projects their mind remotely to view events occurring in another place within range. They must be aware of the location to be viewed and must have at least a general idea of where it is in relation to themselves. If they are not exactly aware of these conditions, they must spend 10 minutes to hone in on the location. Once activated, the psyker can sustain it to keep viewing the targeted location, but while doing so, they cannot move or perform any other actions and are completely oblivious to their own surroundings.
Yeah.
So it's taxing to them mentally, so they suffer 1 shock for every 10 minutes they sustain the power. This requires a test to sustain. They may not recover shock while sustaining the power.
Yeah. So tell us what it looks like when you go into this scry ability or this scry magic.
Yeah, like I'm tugging on my father and then he pushes me and knocks me back and I kind of like fall into the wall and then I'm sitting up against the wall listening and she kind of just like, her eyes just roll in the back of her head and she just stays sitting there like she was before. Just her eyes roll back and they're kind of like twitching.
Yeah.
Now she can see in the other place.
Yeah, so this knocking at the door is it's your front door, so you definitely know where it is. And
then do I need to roll?
No, not for this part.
Okay.
Because you know the location. Hopefully you know your own front door and what's outside your front door. But when you're in your scry form, what does your vision look like? Is there any distortion or the like?
I imagine that it's probably almost like a fisheye lens. So you see like the outer rim is a little blurry and it's almost like she's like fisheye lens going through and I think everything is just like super saturated.
Perfect. So as your scry form makes its way to the front door, you're able to see not just the farm in front of you, but far, far out in the large fields, the golden brown hay grass that your family grows to help sustain the Imperium. Your family is actually one of the very few who owns a private farm on this planet. But in front of your house, you see strange men, and many of them. I assume Ostara learned how to count.
Yeah.
So easily you're able to quickly count. There's at least 15 men at the door. And they all look like magistratum, which are police officers for the planet. Some might call them arbites or RBVs for the intergalactic, but on your planet, they're just called magistratum or magistrates. And they're all armed and they have their weapons out. And one of them, a large man in a brown coat, is banging on your door. And he's yelling something, but you're too far away to hear what he's saying. Would you like to go closer?
I think I back out of the vision and I look back at my father holding my grandfather up. And I'm like, Papa, there's someone at the door. The magistron.
Your father looks at you with a furrowed brow as he tosses your grandfather hard onto his cushioned chair.
Can I catch my grandfather? Oh no, probably not.
Yeah, actually, if you want to make a athletics check, let's see if you can get over there quick enough to do so.
Okay, I'm not very fast. Athletics.
Oh, actually, I
That
would say
wasn't
yes.
that
You
bad.
rolled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can catch them if you want to.
Yeah, I kind of stumble over. I probably like clamber over and then like to try to help him.
Yeah. Your grandfather um, nods at you, pats you gently on the head as he kind of gives you a slight smile and just looks down at you. Does he have a affectionate name for you?
Um, maybe. I don't know
Like
what he.
little mouse.
Sure.
It's a very Russian affectionate name.
Yeah.
So he looks down at you and says, "I'm sorry, little mouse, that I was not able to train you more before my end."
No, Papa, you need to stop. I think they're coming for you.
Yes, but it is the will of fate. It will be what will be. And your father has left to go open the door, and as he does, the men don't bother to inform him of anything as they rush into the house. And as you look over, you can see your father isn't attempting to stop them. He's actually pointing towards you and your grandfather. "Is this the traitor?" One of the men says as they approach you and your grandfather.
No, he didn't do anything.
He doesn't look like much, but, well, I guess heretics come in all forms, another one says as they kind of leer down at you. "What should we do with the girl?" And at this part, your father actually steps in and says, "The girl she is tainted by the stories and his heresy that he tells."
Papa.
And you notice now that after your scry ability, the temperature in the room itself, it's a little cooler. It's obvious that something happened in here. There's small ice crystals on your fingertips and at the corners of your eyes that are slowly melting, which most would be able to tell might be tears, but your grandfather just slowly reaches over and wipes them from your eye as he attempts to stand up. "All right, I'll go with you, but please leave the girl alone. She did nothing but listen to the rantings and ravings of an old man." And one of the men slowly approaches him with hand clasps and or manacles in his hands, which look cruel. They're made of iron with chain, and they're slightly rusted. They look like they'll hurt your grandfather.
What are those for?
The man ignores you as he attempts to reach for your grandfather, and your grandfather actually pushes you away ever so slightly as he reaches behind him with one arm, and you hear one of the men in the crowd shout, "Gun!" And all 15 men begin to slowly raise their weapons towards your grandfather as they time seems to slow down for you. You're not sure why, but you can tell they're going to kill your grandfather.
No, don't do it. And she just kind of like puts her hands out, not realizing what she's doing, and she's going to use the crush ability on the handcuffs.
Ooh, I'm going to need you to roll.
Okay.
All right. So you are a untrained psyker who is using a very dangerous ability.
I just roll it?
Yes.
All right. Oh, nice.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That was well, you definitely catch the manacles. Roll me another 1d6. Let's see how accurate your untrained mind is.
26. 3.
Okay, accuracy. Very average accuracy.
And I rolled a 7 earlier. It was... Dang.
Yes. So, tell me what happens when you destroy the manacles.
She just puts her hands out and says, "No, stop!" And like not even thinking about it. Like obviously this is not. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just thinking it, and then it's happening, and she doesn't really understand it all. And putting her hands out, she just like brushes like the manacles in this guy's hand. They're like flaming. You said they just start.
I mean, they're not flaming. They're like rusted. They look like they'll like hurt his wrists and cut him open.
Like they just crush into like a tiny ball of like whatever the material is that they're made out of.
Yeah. So as you crush these manacles, they are destroyed. And as your vision focuses once more, you notice it wasn't just the manacles that you crushed. As the man looks down,
hands,
screaming with his hands, they aren't there anymore. They are bloodied, mangled stumps intertwined with this iron ball that used to be these manacles that were simply meant to keep everyone safe from your grandfather.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't mean to do it. I'm sorry.
And the men begin to shoot. They don't take heed of you, though one does shout, "Witch!" As they've cut your grandfather down. He smiles as he looks at you as he falls, torn open by these heavy bullets. And he falls slowly towards the ground. As the men begin to surround you, grabbing
I run
you
to my father.
As you run, let's make a check. See if you can get by them without them grabbing you.
Okay. Is that another athletics?
Let's make it athletics.
Okay. 2. And I think I got a... Is that a bad thing?
No.
That's
So
a good thing. Okay.
with the red dice, these are your wrath dice. If it shows a spiky star, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
If it shows a eagle with a gold crown around it, that is good. And basically that means spiky star or heresy symbol is a complication. And good eagle with crown is basically a critical. But as you attempt to run to your father, he actually shies away from you in horror. There's disgust on his face as these men, one of the men grabs you. He takes hold of your wrist.
I just kind of like move my hands out to like try to reach for my dad.
Let's roll Perils of the Warp. Because you used a psychic ability while being an untrained psyker.
No, what do I do? No.
All right. So, Perils of the Warp is a special feature meant specifically for your people, aka the Psychers.
I think I do have a thing for this as well.
Yes.
I'm trying to find where it is because it's on my sheet somewhere. I think it's in my talents, right? I think I am favored of the warp, so I can re-roll any psychic mishaps.
Excellent. Well, let's see how bad it is.
So what do I need to roll for this?
So for this, because Wrath and Glory is a D6 base, you're going to roll 2d6.
Okay. A 5 and a 6.
6. All right, so let's see what a 56 is. And I'll most likely make a little
handout for this
deck on Roll20 for this. So 56. Oof. There was a psychic backlash for you using your untrained power. Lightning dances across your flesh as you reach out towards your father. There's ice in your veins now that you know this. It's cold. Your hands are covered in frost. Your head, there's something wrong. And you collapse. You're still conscious, but
I like fall. I like whoever's the guy who's holding me. I just like like become limp in his arms.
yeah. And of course, the psychic backlash, not a good thing. It's you suffer 1d3 plus 2 shock, which for a child is a lot.
Yeah, I'm knocked out.
Yeah. And you wake up. You don't know how long it's been, but your parents are there. Where are you? You're in a cell? You've seen these on the Voxcast channels and the like. When there's criminals being tried, why are you in one?
Is there anyone else in the cell with me?
You are alone, and your mother is crying. Why is she crying?
My mother's inside with me?
They are outside on the other side of the
Okay. My mother and my father are outside.
Mhm.
And then so I can just see, that's all I see is my mom and my dad on the other side and no one else.
No one else.
There's just walls around me.
Just stone walls around you.
And then like
Iron
a bench
bars
and
in
then they're
front.
sitting on the bench. How am I laying on like a cot or something or
Yes, you're laying on a simple steel cot. It's barely a mattress, maybe an inch thick with a ratty blanket surrounding it.
Okay.
And your father is standing, his head on the bars as he looks at you.
I wake up
Roll
and I'm
awareness for me.
okay.
And this is just because you're waking up.
5. Pretty
Okay.
good.
Ooh, yeah. There's something wrong with him. His eyes aren't right. And he's staring at you.
I put my hand on my head as I like wake up and then I like sit up. And then I look across and I'm like, Mama? Papa? Where am
Your
I?
mother is now standing next to your father, her arms folded before her as you see her head bowed and she's crying, tears running down her face as they look at you in the cell.
Why am I here? Where are we?
And neither respond. You notice.
Run forward and I try to like run to them. I put my hands through the bars and try to grab at my mom.
As you reach for your mother, they disappear, wisps of purple smoke. As
Mama?
you grab for nothing in your cell.
Papa? She just starts like crying and like having a tantrum kind of basically.
Yeah. You hear heavy boots as somebody slams something hard right above your hands. Quiet, witch!
I rush back to the wall, to the back of the wall by the bed and clamber up and she kind of is just like her legs up on the thing, kind of just like as far back as she can be.
Yeah, and you see suddenly that the figures of your parents no longer there. You see several armed men of the magistratum. These are enforcers, and they're all armed, each one pointing their weapon at you as you rushed towards the cells.
Not a witch. Where are my parents? What did you do to them?
Your parents. They are pleading their case against you.
What?
It is time. And one of the men slowly fumbles with a set of long iron keys as they open the door. Another waits beside him with a long catch pole as two of them slowly enter your what basically amounts to now a cage.
I'm gonna grab onto whatever I can hold on to.
There is yeah, the metal bed which is bolted to the ground.
Yeah, I'm just holding onto it for dear life. Don't touch me, leave me alone.
And as you hold on to them, the catch pole, just like a rabid animal. He hoops a metal wire around your neck
I'm gonna
and
try to like
pulls.
get away from it.
Let's see if you can dodge that.
Is that another athletics?
I think it might be.
Oh my god. 2.
2. He,
No,
despite your efforts, which is funny because you're actually rolling well comparatively.
I know and yeah. She just like grabs onto the thing around her neck. What? Let go of me.
And he pulls hard, and you lose grip of the bed as they begin to usher you slowly out of the cell, pushing you and forcing you. You stumble, the stones are uneven, and all these men are following you, all their guns pointed at you.
Where are you taking me?
We're taking you to your trial, witch. And before you, after the long hallway, after tripping on these uneven stones, you come to a set of large wooden doors, and they open up to a room full of people, none of which you have seen before, but now you see your parents in the same form that you saw them before. Your mother crying with her head down, her hands clasped in front of her, her skin pale white. Your father, red-faced, bloodied-eyed, as he looks at you with disgust.
Mama, don't let them do this to me.
Your mother, her only reaction is she tilts her head away from you. You hear now the jeering of the crowd. There are hundreds of people in here, and they are throwing things towards you. Rotten food scatters about you as the catchpole pushes you further away from him so that he may not be subjected to the same. You are brought before a pedestal, which you are forced to stand on, alone in the middle of this large room. Before you, on a large bench, sit 3 people, 3 figures, each one dressed in robes of the church. One of them is actually your local pastor. You recognize this man. He's preached to your church many a times in your small chapel.
What's
He's
his
even
name?
why don't you tell me what his name is? Throwing that back at you.
Ooh, Josephiah.
Justify? I like it.
Josephiah.
Josephiah?
Yeah.
And he looks at you, stern-faced, red, with his eyes looking at you with disgust. All 3 of these judges sit looking at you as if you were nothing. If you were a wild, rabid beast. Your father's had to put down rabid animals by your farm before. And these men look at you with the same look that your father looked at these creatures. What do you do as you stand up on this platform alone?
She kind of just tries to like dodge the things that are being chucked at her, I think. And then she starts, like, at first she's, she was trying to get her parents' attention and seeing all the faces, and it's almost like, if you're about to give a speech and you're just seeing all the people and it's just giving you stress, this is like that times 9,001. It's like she's just seeing all these people's faces who are like giving her these looks, and they're just kind of like staying in her memory and laughing and the chucking of things at her, and she's just, and slowly she just starts feeling shame and like something is wrong with her, and so she starts like looking down and like having and she has her hands like clasped down by her side.
Yeah, and slowly the things being thrown at you subside as you hear 3 loud bangs come from in front of you as a man hits a metal hammer against the wooden table. I'll have order in my court. Ostara Thompson, that your name? Yes, well, your record shows you have never committed a crime before today. Do you know the charges you are being arraigned on?
No.
Witchcraft. How do you plead?
I didn't do anything.
You did not crush a man's hands as he attempted to arrest a known heretic.
I promise I didn't mean to. That's not what I wanted to do. I didn't mean that.
You did not mean to. You admit, then, to using powers of witchcraft here.
No.
And the crowd hushes as you speak, and time seems to slow down for you once more. You hear a voice in your head. I could kill them all if you want.
No.
They want to be free?
I do, but no. No.
No. Time's a waste then. Well, not for me, maybe for you. You might not survive very long without me. Just keep that in mind. And suddenly, everything's going fast again. The pause is over. How do you react? As the judge is still talking down to you, listing charges against you.
She's just like, it's almost like she is like trying to like blink and see, like, you know, like she thinks that she's seeing things or she's like losing her mind kind of thing. She's just like blinking and like shaking her head, and I mean, to them it probably she looks a little crazy, but for her she's just trying to be like, no. No, and she's just saying no over and over again.
Yeah, and as you're saying no, you may see on the peripheral of your vision the man whose hands you crushed is actually standing there now with bandages over his mangled, useless hands, still clasped together, fused in this iron. Medicay's next to him, slowly holding them up for him as he's unable to do so under his own power. And he looks towards you and says, "That's the bitch. She did this to me. She's a witch." And you hear an audible gasp go through the crowd behind you as slowly people get to chant, "Witch, witch, witch."
No.
Well, it doesn't matter how you plead. There is enough evidence. Guilty. You'll burn at dawn. Take her back to her cell. Make sure she is under guard. Do not let her kill or maim anyone else. And the catchpole pulls hard against the pole, choking you as you begin to be pushed back. Now, people angrily yell at you.
Yeah, she just reaches her hand out and she kind of like yells, "Mama."
Your mother turns her back to you, and your father steadfastly stares at you, looking you in the eye.
She's just like tears coming down her face.
And as you, through your blurred eyes, you notice look you're not used to seeing on your father's face. Hatred. With one final yank, you're forced out of the room as the catchpole brings you back to the cell. What do you do in your cell as you await your fate?
think she kind of just sits there on the floor, like Indian style, and has her, or like cross-legged, and she has her hands in her like clasped together, and she's just like looking down, and she's just not really sure what to do. So she just kind of says a prayer that her mom taught her.
And
I guess I want to use fortune.
Okay, let's use fortune.
Fortune
Witchcraft. She's using witchcraft.
Which adds a bonus dice to one roll. The Psyker leads a charmed existence, manipulating the energies of the warp, perhaps without even consciously doing it. To make sure probabilities just always seem to favor them, the Psyker may choose to add one bonus die to one test they make during the power's duration.
All right. So your fortune. You will be fortunate, yes. Several days pass. Nobody comes to visit you. The guards, they pay you no heed as these
Does anyone
days
feed
pass.
me? Do I not eat?
No.
Okay.
Nope. The guards simply change every few hours, just letting others rest. And
She probably just takes note of the pattern.
yeah, it seems to be rather random. And one morning, about 3 days, you judge. You wake up and there's a strange figure standing in front of your cell. A man in a large trench coat that goes down to the floor almost. And he seems to be covered in all black with a skull on his chest.
Are you here to kill me?
If I was here to kill you, I would have done so in your sleep.
She looks back down at her hands and sits there again.
I hear you're a witch.
She doesn't say anything.
Well, people used to call me a witch, funny enough. But, well, okay, it was actually a different word that they called me. And he actually cracked a smile at that.
She
and
will look up again.
You notice now your cell door's open. And this man is standing there. And he looks out towards you. Says, there's plenty of time on the way. I'll teach you what you are. My name is Oswin. Oswin Alloway. But you can call me Inquisitor.
She just kind of looks up at him and blinks, I think. Because she's just like, okay, first time someone has talked to me. And what is he even saying to me?
And yeah, you blink and suddenly the screen goes black, and when it opens up again, you're no longer in the cell. It's several months past now, as you have been taken onto one of the Inquisitional ships, one of the black ships, sailing through the warp back to Holy Terra, the home of mankind, the home of the Emperor of mankind. You have heard stories, your grandfather has told you that the Psykers are sacrificed to the God Emperor quite often. Every day, thousands of Psykers are sacrificed to the Emperor so that he may be sustained. And you also know that there's a chance, from what your grandfather has told you, a strong enough Psyker will not be sacrificed. They will be used. You sit in the padded room. The walls themselves are white and cushioned, and yet scribbled on them are hundreds of runes in red and black. There are small pieces of paper, like ribbons throughout the room, stamped to the walls with what looks like red wax. And after your months of being here, you know that these are seals to ensure that while you are not under supervision, you do not use your powers. Have you attempted to use your powers on the ship without permission?
Ooh. I don't know. I think she wouldn't try unless it was like a dire need.
Yeah, nobody has told you about these runes, so you may have no knowledge of what they do whatsoever. But what have you done in these past few months that you have been taken away from your family?
She's probably been really quiet and just observant, like just watching people, watching things, watching. Like if she's stuck in a padded room, she probably just sits there cross-legged with her hands in like clasped together and in her lap, and she just like looks down and she doesn't say anything if no one else,
Which is a good thing because your personal keeper is a woman who is stern-faced, hair white, one eye with a gash across it, the eye itself missing, the scar yet remaining. She is highly unkind to you. When it is time for you to go to the commissariat to go eat, she hits you with what basically amounts to a switch, a whip. She is sister Henrika. And that is all you know about her is she is silent. She is cruel. And even before she began to torture you, and it is torture.
Does she look like she enjoys it?
Yes. Every time she hits you, she has like a wicked smirk on her face.
I think Ostara will like note that. Ostara will remember that.
Yeah, she opens your cell one day and looks at you as you sit in your room. The only furniture that you have is a single mat that is on the ground and a single ragged blanket. And she looks at you and, in her gnarled face, just nods towards the door. And she says nothing else.
I just look up.
And you hear the regular sound of a piece of wood hitting the padded wall as she slams the switch against it and looks at you, face stuck in the half snarl, as she points her head towards the door again.
I flinch when she hits the wall. Stick.
Yeah. She's done this to you many times. She's telling you that you are going somewhere. She simply has not spoken to you.
I get up. I'm probably even more lanky than I was before because I've eaten even less than I like ever have. Like I used to just not eat a lot because I wasn't hungry, and now I'm not eating a lot because they're not feeding me. And so
more or less, the food that you are provided while aboard the black ship is barely gruel. It's a gray, flavorless mush. And it's clearly meant to simply keep you alive, not pleased.
Whenever she does get food, she just eats it as quickly as possible, like as if like in a second someone would take it from her.
Yeah, and Sister Henrika actually slowly enters your room and points the switch towards the doorway.
She's getting up, but she gets up and she's like really lanky looking and kind of walks over towards the door like a giraffe getting up awkwardly.
Oh, she's an awkward giraffe.
Yeah.
And She basically leads you towards what you have commonly come to know as, along with a few of the other unsanctioned psychers aboard this ship, as you call it the classroom. And you are forcefully seated at a desk, your arms bound to the arms of the chair, your legs clasped to the legs of the chair. As a man whose name you have never learned, he's an old man, twisted with age, slowly enters the room and looks at you. I have heard of your plight, young one. Tell me, what is your name?
Probably like looking down, even though she is like strapped, unless her head is strapped too. It's just her arms
Yes,
and
your
legs.
forehead is strapped
okay.
back, so you are forced to look forward. And you are the only one in this room, aside from Henrika and this old gnarled man, who's wearing gray robes.
My eyes are kind of like dart around to see who else is in the room, and that's what I see. And then I look at him, and she waits a moment before she responds because she's not sure if she's just gonna get hit again. So she kind of like is embracing for to get hit, and then she says, "What's that on this?"
But Ostara. And you see now the man is carrying a small personal-sized data slate in his hand, which a data slate is basically a smartphone or a tablet. Sometimes they're single function; they only have one thing on them. Others are like our modern tablets. But he's flipping through it, and he clicks it, and he looks at it, and then slowly puts it in a pocket that you didn't notice in his robe. Then he looks at you and kind of slowly approaches his wooden
a little
cane
as he gets closer, like as I see him coming closer to me.
Yeah, and he reaches out a hand towards you, and
I super flinch and flinch backward, like try to like get back, but I'm like stuck, so I can't move.
Yeah, and he just kind of pushes a strand of hair onto your head and says, "You remind me of my granddaughter. I used to tell her stories quite often."
Does he look familiar to me?
Slightly, actually. He almost reminds you of an older version of your grandfather. Make an awareness check.
5.
Oh, damn it.
I'm super aware.
You are.
I mean, she has nothing else
in.
going on with her life other than to look around at things, which there are not a lot of things to look at.
There's something definitely off about him. Now that you look, he doesn't look so much like your grandfather after all. He doesn't look so old either. And his voice doesn't sound right either. It almost sounds like somebody pretending to be an old man. I'm pretending to be. And he looks at you and just smiles and says, "I used to tell my granddaughter many stories. And, well, many of them were not true stories, of course. They were meant for her entertainment. I heard that your grandfather told you many stories too. What were the stories that he told you?"
I don't have a grandfather.
Everybody has a grandfather. You've never met him before?
She kind of like replays the last time she saw her grandfather and seeing her grandfather die. And she just starts shaking her head.
Do you know where he went then? What happened to him?
Is that?
And he pulls out the data slate from his pocket again and slowly looks through it. And then he looks towards Henrika, and then he looks towards the wall for some reason and shakes his head.
I look towards the wall that he's looking at.
Make an awareness check.
Oh man, is it like one of those walls where you can see through? 7. Oh,
so
shit.
not only did you... All right. So you passed this test with points to spare. And another important thing that is also good. Now, you only needed 5 points, which means you have 2 extra points. The 6 that you did roll, which is going to be the black 6 with the eagle with the crown around it, you can use that for something called shifting. And I'm going to put that on your screen real quick, just to give you a quick idea. But what shifting basically is it is a bonus that you have. Show it to players, and that should have popped up for you. So you can gain more information. You can improve the quality of the test, or you can improve the speed of the test.
Ooh, okay. I'll put this in the thing for the chat. I think I can make it so the chat can... Yeah. Y'all can see it.
And you also rolled a 6 on your Wrath die, which means basically critical success. You get to tell me something great that happened here.
I think that I gain information. Like, I look that direction and I see what he sees. And I think he notices that I notice what he sees. Okay, so you want it to be a kind of not good thing that happens?
Oh, would that be a not good thing? You roll, that would be a 1. I felt like this was
a test or something. Okay. If that would not be a good thing, then I wouldn't. Then he doesn't notice, I suppose.
Okay. Because a 1, if you rolled a 1, he would have flat out noticed and something bad happens. It's a complication. In this case, it's something good definitely happened to you in this. And
okay, I gain information, and he doesn't notice that
you notice?
That I notice, yeah.
He doesn't notice that you notice that. He didn't notice that you noticed.
Exactly.
And, yeah, you look towards the wall and you see strange. It's usually not so dark over there. And, you strain your eyes a bit and you can tell you're not in the classroom. This is a different room. That's not a wall. Looks like there's a cutout there that it's just barely visible. Almost like on a molecular level, but you're able to notice a slight deformation along the wall, slight discoloration. And it's a fake wall. You've seen this on the Voxcast before, on one of your mama's crime dramas that she watches. You're being interrogated. And the man slowly turns back towards you and says, young lady, your grandfather was never buried. We have no records of his death. Do you know about this?
No, he's dead.
He is quite alive, I assure you. And he looks at you and he actually flips his data slate around towards you, and it's a report of your arrest. And it states that despite them going to arrest a heretic after a altercation, the body of the heretic was missing. Do you know about this?
Shakes her head no.
Did you do something?
Shakes her head no.
Did your grandfather ever teach you how to use your special abilities?
Shakes her head no.
So he keeps asking you these questions. He asks you, like, what stories has your grandfather told you? Has he told you about the dangers? Has he told you about what you're doing? Has he told you about the Inquisition? And
I think if he asks like a lot of questions, she just keeps saying he's dead. He's dead.
And you can tell he's getting, after a good 30 minutes to an hour,
When he
another
showed
hour.
me the image of my, or that
The report.
did it look real or did it look like they're faking something? Like an insight check?
You
What's
are
that?
young, so this is going to be a little bit of a interesting test. I want you to roll a insight for me.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, investigation. Yes.
Ooh, that's much better.
Perfect.
For me.
Well, to your knowledge, as somebody who's uninitiated in the ways of criminology and the like, it looks pretty real. They just from the small, quick, couple-second glimpse that you saw of the data slate, you read that there are reports that they shot your grandfather multiple times, that he was pronounced dead on the scene. However, there was another report that there was no blood from the injuries he sustained. And after all the men left the building to usher you out to make sure that it was safe, when one of the men went back to basically secure the scene and take these photos, your grandfather was missing after only a few minutes. And your interrogation goes on for hours. He keeps asking you more questions, the same questions, over and over. What stories did your grandfather tell you? Did he tell you about the Emperor?
When he says that, she looks up a little bit and is like, no.
Ostara, my granddaughter does the same when she lies. And he looks at you, waiting for you to react.
He just kind of stares at him while he's waiting.
It's basically a staring contest for how long does she stare at him
She's
before...
like really unsure of what is happening. She realizes that she's being interrogated. She's like 8 years old. She's been beaten. She's starving. She's just, I think from her perspective, she doesn't know what the right answers are. But clearly the truth is not the right thing to say. So she just kind of stares. And like every time she says her grandfather's dead, she keeps replaying like the image of her grandfather dying.
Yeah.
Because she feels like that makes it more real.
Yeah. Roll another awareness for me. And you have a psychic skill, right?
4.
Yes. Also roll a psychic mastery now.
Psychic mastery. Okay.
Yes.
5.
Perfect. Someone's in your head. You didn't notice this before. You feel something or someone looking as he's asking questions. When it's almost as if someone's trying to tell whether you are telling the truth or not. It's the man in front of you. He is attempting to read your surface thoughts with every question.
Can I try to push him out of my brain?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll another psychic mastery for me. And this is going to be another difficulty 5. Because he's not attempting very hard.
Holy crap! What? How?
All right. So.
Holy crap.
I'm not going to roll that well. Destroys it.
I was worried because I rolled a 5. I was like, that's pretty good, right?
5 is great. I didn't expect you to roll anywhere close to this. So, okay, so you are way over the points. You can only shift one die. You can put another into a wrath point. or glory point. So
Okay.
a glory point is the special point that you can use to basically do awesome stuff.
I think I start with a certain amount of those already. I start with 3.
Yes.
You mean wrath points?
Yes, and glory points are the party pool, but in this case, they're just for you this time.
Oh, right. So wrath pool is my personal, and glory is like our combined.
Yes. Yeah.
Are we gonna have some kind of like token on the screen or something that we can make sure we know how many of those we have?
Yes, either that or I'm just going to have one of you keep track for me. Okay. Because each of you you start with your own wrath points, and then the party pool, which it resets every session.
Yeah, it's kind of like the team pool in Masks.
It's exactly what it's like. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm going to say, how do you want to shift it?
Ooh, what do you mean shift it?
You have 2 extra dice that you can easily use for this. Okay. Would you just like to push him out better, push him out faster? Would you like to gain some would you like to push back into his head?
Yeah, if I can do that, totally.
Okay. Because I'm going to combine your wrath point your wrath die that you just rolled a 6 on 2, which is bullshit, by the way. Yeah, so as he is looking down at you, asking these questions, you hear his voice in his head as he's thinking. And it's not the same voice that he's talking in. Well, you hear him, my granddaughter is about your age. She used to live on the farm with her parents. I used to visit there quite often, and I would bring gifts. And you hear this freaking kid. When is she just going to give it up? Been 3 hours. Should have grabbed lunch beforehand. Well, she's already guilty of heresy, but hey, she could be saved, but probably not. We'll just toss her out in the airlock. And yeah, they're not nice surface thoughts that he's having. He's not even disguising them in his head. But suddenly, his voice inside his head, as you push him out of your head, suddenly changes, and it's, wait a moment.
I back out.
And you back out of his head as you push him out of your head, and he physically recoils at the sudden jolt that you give him. This is a discharge of psychic energy that you have just put off, whether you meant to or not. And his disguise is gone. Now, before you stands a man in different robes now. He's not the same gnarled old man that you saw before in tan robes. He is a young man with a cropped top haircut and slight beard, standing before you, tall and arms clasped behind his back, wearing a trench coat like the Inquisitor that took you aboard this ship before. However, his is not as nice looking. It would appear he's a much lower rank. And you know this was a psychic disguise. And you hear off to the side the slight whining of air as it hisses out of a door, and over towards where you know the fake wall is. The part of the wall slowly opens up and light pours through, lighting the room as Oswin slowly steps in. Well, she's more powerful than we thought. Isn't that right, Astara? You would have convinced us.
She just tries to like look down again. And then her head's like back up there.
Yeah, and he kind of you hear him laughing. All right, interrogator. Dismissed for now. And the man in front of you kind of bows slightly and says, Inquisitor, I apologize. I did not realize that she was... And you hear Osmond just make a quick excuse as he ushers the Inquisitor out of the room. As the Inquisitor himself now approaches you. Ostara.
She flinches again. She just thinks that everyone's gonna hit her because she's so used to getting like hit by Sister. What's her name? Henrika?
Henrika.
Yeah.
And he looks at you, and it's not a nice smile on his face. It's almost wolfish, almost cruel as he looks down at you. Child, you could have done this much easier. Though I do see potential in you yet for your service to the Empire. Tell me, your grandfather is alive. Did you know this?
She just plays the scene of her grandfather dying.
No? And you hear this voice in your head as he speaks. He's also a psyker. He was the one actually putting all the disguise on the Inquisitor. That's why you were able to push him out so easily. And Osmond looks at you and kind of folds his arms before you and just smirks slightly as his voice rings in your head. Child, that did happen, yes. But there is more to it. Did you know your grandfather was also a psycho? And quite powerful, too. An alpha class. Have we taught you the classes of psychers yet?
She just like tilts her head no, like no, once. Just like shakes her head.
And he kind of chuckles a little. We'll teach you about that later. But the point being, he was quite powerful. And he faked his own death. Did you know that? Did he tell you? Did he say anything to you? There was psychic residue all over the courtroom, which was not from you. Did anybody speak to you during your trial?
She just tries to replay the image of her grandfather dying because she knows they're trying to interrogate her, and she's like, if she thinks about anything else other than that, like, it will imply that she's guilty.
He barks ever so slightly at you as he speaks now. Did you have anybody speak in your head during your trial? You are not in trouble if you answer truthfully, but if you refuse to answer, you will be punished.
She pauses for a moment, and then she closes her eyes and then looks at him, stares him in the eyes, and says, "What do you want from me?"
I want the truth.
Why?
For the better of mankind.
How will that help?
What stories did your grandfather tell you? And as you stare him down, two more men enter the room. They're carrying something. It looks like a table. And they place it before the Inquisitor. Another man comes in and places a chair in front of him. And slowly, a few more people come in and they begin to set the table before him. And you notice this sweet-smelling food is placed before him as he takes a seat in front of you. Astara, this could go so much easier for you if you simply answered our questions. And he begins to cut into what looks like a piece of meat directly in front of you.
Star's stomach growls, rumbles, but she tries to like forget that she's hungry. But he probably, if he's in her brain, he realizes that she's hungry. Like, even though she tries to push it down, like, it's a fucking steak. I don't think she's seen like real food for months. I'm sure she's like drooling at the thought of eating something. She just kind of actually thinks about the smell of it, and just, I think for her, it's almost like the smell is as good as the taste.
He chuckles lightly as he is in your head now. And he puts an image in your head. It's one of the farm animals from your farm. And he takes a bite of the piece of meat as he looks at you. Your parents did raise good livestock. Would you like some?
She just stares at him. She knows that he's not gonna. Fucking dick.
Your grandfather told you stories. Your father told us as much. I am trying to save your life, child. Tell me, so that I may do so. So that we simply do not have to dispose of you instead. Do you think I won't?
I think you already know what you want to do with me.
He looks at you and laughs. A throaty laugh as he takes a sip of what looks like crystal clear water. And you can see it dribbling down his lips, dripping onto the table in front of him as he places the glass down. Child, I want to save your soul. Help me do so that you are not thrown into damnation like so many before. Tell me the stories he told you.
She just like stares at him more, looking at the food and then looking at him. She's like, already know.
Yes,
what you want to know.
I do.
It does not matter what I say.
He slowly stands up, the food clearly unfinished, as he taps the side of his mouth with a napkin that looks far more expensive than any of the clothes your parents have ever owned. And he places it on the table and turns away from you as he begins to walk out. Begin the operation. She may be useful to the Imperium yet. We'll make sure that she has no more heretical thoughts.
What are you doing to me? What are you gonna do to me?
Unbeknownst to you, the men that were standing behind you pull down the surgical chair that you are strapped to. A light that is blinding to your eyes that have been adjusted to the dark of the room shines down on your face. You hear the slight whirring of a chainsaw, almost. No. Too small for that.
No.
But you catch it on the glimpse of your head as they bring
Stop.
the circular
Don't do
saw
this. You don't
over
have
your
to do
head.
this. Whatever they're making you do, you don't have to do it.
Excruciating pain shoots through your body.
She just screams. Like a curdling scream. And probably
Next
passes
morning.
out.
Yes. End scene.
Woo! And that is going to be the prequel, right?
That is the prequel. Next up, we will be several years in the future.
Well, the prequel of the prequel of the prequel.
The pre-prequel.
Ooh, was the scream both vocal and psychic?
Yes.
I probably, yeah.
100% yes.
Yeah, this is episode 0 for my character. If you're just tuning in right now. So, yeah, we are gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna be coming back to how I got on to, or what I've been up to in the current.
While aboard the Vandervulf.
Yeah, while aboard the Vandervulf, and how I meet my party, which. If you've watched the other 3 prequels, or if you haven't ever watched them, the other 3 characters in our story are amazing characters as well. You'll definitely want to check them out. Eric Vulgaris plays one of them. We have Delric, who plays the other, and Lobos Jr., who's the 3rd party member. And all together, we are going to be coming together next week. On Mondays, we'll be playing every day at 7 p.m. We're in for a really long Warhammer game. We've all been really wanting to play in this world, in this setting. It's very interesting, and as you can see, like I was telling everybody before we started, it is kind of dark, and at any moment you could take your step back. There's going to be some stuff that we talk about that is not necessarily, something you want to. Like, I know someone else was like, as a father right now, I just don't like what's happening. And
I feel bad about this.
Yeah, it's... When Frank and I were talking about it, I was like, no, I think it needs to get touched on, because the world is not like 40K is not a nice world. Like the fact you're alive, like the longer you live, the longer you
worse
know
it gets.
how terrible the world is. And so hopefully we're conveying that and doing it justice, especially from the psycher's standpoint, and seeing how it is for a small child, because they take small kids and they freaking brainwash them.
It's so much worse than brainwashing.
So fucked up.
It's even for Scott's character, I went light on that because they completely wipe the minds of people.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how dark it gets. Which, I try and not be as dark, but as you can tell, I'm going to touch on that darkness.
I think you did it. I think you did a good job of not making it too gruesome.
Super
I mean, obviously,
dark,
having a kid getting their brain opened while they're alive is pretty
at
gruesome.
That part
But we didn't.
we
faded to black really quickly. But yeah, it's one of those things. So we hope that you all are enjoying it so far. We'll be right back after a short break. Go ahead and get yourself some water. Stand up. Maybe you don't want to eat. I don't know.
As my friend says, hydrate or dihydrate.
That is one way to say it.
He also has a 66-ounce hydro flask that he drinks 2 of every day.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But we'll see you all after the short break. everyone. Welcome back from the break. We are here with the continuation of the prequel for Ostara. So hopefully you all are enjoying it, and we'll just get right into it. So go ahead, Frank. Ooh.
All right. So.
Gotta like somehow come back from being a terrified little girl.
From terrifying child torture? Yes, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Ostara, you awake with a jolt aboard the Vandervulf. It's been 20 years since you were taken. How was your memory of that time? Do you remember much?
No. Well, I remember things, but not probably any of those things.
Yeah, you have nightmares every now and then, but when you awake, they're soothed away with the power of song and hymn.
Yeah, I pretty much wake up every morning to the sound of either singing of a hymn in my head to the God Emperor or some kind of prayer that's being spoken to me. And that is what I wake up to in my head every morning.
And this morning you wake up to a very gentle sound. This prayer you've heard thousands of times before. It is praising one of the saints of a far-off world. And it's a soothing song. The saint was a holy healer. And you awake fully now. Your nightmare gone. Your pain's no longer there.
I take my heart was racing when I first woke up, but then the sound of this hymn kind of soothes me, and I mutter some things to myself, but unintelligible. And I sit up in my bed.
Yeah. Your room on the Vandervulf is not the biggest, but certainly not the smallest. It's about 5 feet by 10 feet. Tell me, what do you keep in your room as you awake this wonderful morning?
You probably see she keeps things semi-organized. It's kind of almost like she's at a regiment, you know. She has a time that she wakes up. She has a schedule that she adheres to, and it's kind of very military-esque, as almost how you would see it. She gets up and makes her bed. I mean, she doesn't leave the bed without making the bed and tucking it in. It's like she's a robot almost. What you see in the room looks very clean, but if you were to open up a drawer of the desk or something of that sort, you would see a file cabinet, or files in the cabinet, and each of the files is labeled and they have names of people on them. And if you were to look into those labels, it looks like something you would see from a detective. If you opened up one of them, you'd see an image of a person and kind of any charges that they've had on them, records of them, and maybe some notes that are jotted, some sticky notes that are there. But the room itself looks very clean. And if you opened up the closet and looked in the closet, everything is pressed and clean. And she has a uniform that's in there that she wears every day. And she has probably 3 of those or 2 of those or whatever would be the appropriate amount.
Yeah.
And then she has some common wear that she would have that looks really casual and comfortable.
Yeah.
And a brush maybe that's in a drawer, but she rarely uses it.
So she just has crazy hair permanently.
Yeah. She kind of just doesn't care. Her hair's a little curly, so sometimes it gets to the point where it's matted and she has to deal with it, but otherwise it's just chaos.
Me too. I agree with this. That's why I had to shave. Yeah, so you wake up, you make your bed. You know just from the feeling of when you woke up, the Vandervulf has exited warp space at last. It's been an arduous journey. You've been aboard this ship for a good 6 to 8 months. Why did you originally become aboard the Vandervulf?
I was originally coming here. I actually have a companion on this ship that I'm with. His name is Wilmer, Wilmer Holtz, and the two of us are that we both work for the Adeptus Arbitus, and we're basically investigators for the police station there, or for the police station where we're from. And we've been trying to look for a specific person that we're on the scout for. Now, my partner himself is kind of more of the bad cop, and I'm like the good cop, I guess, which is horrifying. The two of us kind of
bad cop and super bad cop.
Yeah, we've worked together for I think 3 years at this point. So we've known each other for a really pretty long time in this realm of things, and we've worked really well together on things that cases that we've worked on together.
Oh yeah.
I tend to kind of be the person who sees things or I kind of use my powers to aid us in that sense with my psychic powers, and then he's more of like the brute force, because I'm not that person. He's the tank.
Yes, you are.
I know.
I've seen it.
She's very fragile herself, though. She's a lanky woman.
Yeah, so aboard the Vandervulf, you're attempting to track down this lead, the next criminal scum that you must put down and erase from the Imperium of Man, for they simply do not deserve to live. What was this person's crime?
This person in particular? Ooh.
The one that you came out all this way to find.
I think maybe they murdered somebody and they took something.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
So, as a member of the Adeptus Arbitrae, you know murder is a capital punishment on most worlds. Some worlds, it's whatever. On the world that this person committed murder, it is one of the worlds where your life is meant for the Emperor. If you murder somebody, you are stealing from the Emperor of mankind. You do not steal from the God Emperor of mankind. This person will be punished by your hand for this, for their theft against the Holy Emperor.
I mean, she's worked on cases of like people who are, distributing drugs, from that, more like petty thing to, someone stealing stuff to things such as this that are murder. But that is why it's taken her and her companions so far from where they're from.
Yeah.
Because we're tracking this person down.
And the last 3 stops that the Vandervulf have made have unfortunately netted you no new information, no new gains. In fact, what you're able to tell from your personal contacts within the ship itself, those worlds are unavailable, overrun. You heard from a rumor that one of them was taken over by greenskins, by the Orkoids. And that just means there's no people on there anymore. Most likely, unless they're slaves. Tor Primaris of the capital system of the subsector Tamitori, you have heard plenty that it's actually pretty good here. Now, as a Arbites officer, would you have volunteered your services aboard the ship?
I would do anything the Emperor requests of me.
Well, there is a saying that on every ship, the captain is the Emperor.
My life is his life, and I will do as he requests. there's a task or someone in need of help, I will aid them.
Yeah. So actually, someone's willing to waive your transport fees if you assist in basically helping out the shipboard magistratum and Arbides officers. They know you're a psyker and they have a little bit of an idea of what you can do, and they want to know if you can help. And this has been through the 6-8 months that you've been here, that they've asked you to help out with this. Just, spy a bit on the undership gangs and the like, make sure no one's actually fermenting any uprisings and the like. And the past couple of weeks, you've definitely been used quite a bit by the shipboard peacekeeping officers, as you know this for a fact simply because you are now being issued very mediocre ration bars once a day instead of the usual 2 times a day. How used to is the star used to that? Not getting full rations?
I think now that she's been past that and she's worked on a lot of missions and things of that sort, normally I think she is like on her day-to-day eating pretty well, actually, probably. And she basically like dedicates her life, and she's like a good little soldier. So she is often, gets a good amount of rations. She, reports what she's done. Like, she's a good psyker in their minds.
Yeah.
But I think that whenever she's undercover, like in this case, she's undercover, where she's probably wearing like her commoner clothing and kind of mixing and mingling with like the ruffians and drug dealers and things of that sort, and probably listening and trying, she's spying, so she just tries to be part of their thing. Maybe some others kind of treat her poorly because of that, but I think to keep her cover.
Yeah. And right now your cover, you have a mission. Upon exiting warp space, you were informed that there would be a celebration aboard the ship. Rations would be opened up to most people aboard the ship except for the slaves in the undership. They would like you to ensure that if there were any incidents, that the peacekeeping officers would know so beforehand. You were also informed that the ship's astropath was able to make contact with the astropaths on Tor Primaris, and you have been informed of the current ship situation of the algae plant aboard the ship more or less breaking down, and the ship warp core running low on fuel and requiring refueling.
Okay. What can I do to help the refueling?
For the refueling, you are unable to do anything for that to help.
Okay.
As a psyker, you know that refueling a ship is extremely dangerous. You have to open up a direct conduit to the warp. There are basically human sacrifices that must enter the core itself with what are essentially sarcophaguses on their backs. That, 6 people are going to go in. Maybe 1 will make it, and that will be enough. Everyone else will die hundreds of feet before that. Not a good fate. Usually left to slaves and servitors.
Then I'll do my job. If there's nothing else that I can do from a ability standpoint and offer, then I will do what they're requesting. Continue to do what they're requesting of me, which is making sure that there are no incidents that occur during the celebration. So I guess I would have been, while I was undercover, trying to see if anyone was planning something or plotting something.
Let's roll investigation. Let's find out.
Okay, cool. Get some rolls going. All right. Skills.
As the kiddos would say. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Investigation. Ooh, 6.
Ooh, perfect. All right. You can shift one of those extra exalted dice if you want to.
Ooh, okay.
I'd like to shift it into information, quality, or speed of information.
You had a handout for that, right?
Yes, I did. Let me share that with you again. It is in
Give me a
rules
second,
shifting. Here, I shared it with you.
Okay. Just keep that up. I think that I will gain information.
All right.
Does that make sense for an investigation?
Goushi, one of the ringleaders of the recent riots. They're going to try and get to the cargo ship that's being launched from one of the satellite stations off of Tor Primaris. Rumor has it the cargo ship's filled with food. We're getting restocked today.
And this is a person that's gonna try to.
It's basically your informant is, and this is just from your memory of what they were saying.
Okay, I'm not actually having a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to try to get to the cargo ship and take it? Okay.
Yes, there's a cargo ship coming in from one of the stations surrounding the main planet, and it is rumored to be laden full of food. You know this just from your own experience of you were suddenly on half rations. The ship's stocks are dwindling; they're almost gone. So they need emergency supplies now.
Okay.
And it looks like there is a planned riot to try and either get to the cargo pod or steal things as they are being taken off.
Did my informant tell me anything about who said this? Like what they look like or anything?
Yes. One of the ringleaders of the recent riots, one of the recent food riots, Go Ushi.
Go Ushi. All right, I will take this to my boss. I probably meet up with my companion.
Okay. I already forgot his name.
First to see what they came up with. So I'm guessing Wilmer and I meet up in our usual location after we've done our scouting and figured out.
Where is your usual location?
Probably some. I don't know, like, because this is a ship, right?
Yeah. So in Warhammer, a ship is a small city. The Vandervulf itself, a rogue trader. You've heard plenty of rumors about what the ship actually was. One of the main rumors that you would find most likely true is it is a former Imperial Navy ship. So it is well armed. Now it is a simple cargo vessel meant to escort people, ships, and just make money in general for themselves. But it has a population of 26,000 crew members, 3,000 passengers. You are but one of those people.
I think that the two of us meet probably in like, this is going to be a ridiculous place, but I think we probably meet in a bathroom. So the two of us kind of...
There are hundreds of thousands of public bathrooms, throughout everywhere.
We meet in one of the bathrooms that has like, it's one of those ones where it's just one box you go into, right? And it has like everything, the toilet, the sink and everything. And I go in and then we each have a knock. So whoever goes in first, whoever arrives there first, will wait for the knock. When we get the knock, I do the knock back, and then if it's this, and then open the door.
It was definitely the Nickelodeon theme.
And I just unlock. He hears the door unlock, and then he slides in, and we lock the door.
Yeah. Yeah. What does he look like?
So Wilmer's he wears like a black trench coat over probably some padded armor, like padded clothing armor underneath. He's kind of a bigger, burlier man, and he has like black hair with a black beard and wears glasses. But he's fairly bulky.
Okay. And yeah, is he taller than you or shorter than you?
Taller than me for sure.
Yeah. He looks down at you in this almost cramped stall and just like pushes his
I'm like leaned up
glasses up
leaned
a bit.
on the wall.
And he just makes a quick quip of, "Oi, love, we gotta stop mating like this."
If you can propose a different place, then
And there's a nice bar down the street. It has beautiful tenders.
are you asking me out on a date?
I was asking if you thought that the waiter there was also attractive.
I think back at what the waiter looked like. What does the waiter look like?
He's a relatively scrawny, very
roll for
pale
hotness?
man. Let's roll for hotness. Roll a 1d100 for me. Let's see how hot this guy is. This waiter is.
I thought it was like 3d6. 70.
You know, he's 7 out of 10. Not bad.
She kind of like thinks about it, and she's like, "All right, he's not bad." What
Not
did
to
you
mention-
find out?
Oh, all right. Well, Goichi and his grunts are already on the move. They're moving up from one of the lower decks. They'll be like probably 20, 30 minutes. We have plenty of time to get ready.
I heard the same. The ringleader looks like he's trying to get to the cargo.
No, I didn't hear about that part. I just know they're doing another riot.
I think it's a distraction.
For what?
She pauses for a moment and then mumbles to herself. And then she's like, it looks like she's like looking somewhere else. And
Roll a quick awareness for me.
Okay. 3.
How often do you just kind of zone out when talking with him?
I probably do it with a lot of people. People probably think
Okay.
she's just like slow.
Okay.
But or like
Yeah.
something's wrong with her because she kind of like derps out sometimes.
Even though you've worked with him for 3 or so years now, when you do that, you see him just tense up a bit. And every now and then you see him absentmindedly when you're kind of refocusing, just his hands just by his holster.
Makes sense. People are always scared of me. And then she comes back to you and she's like, yeah, I think that's what they're doing.
Action for what is the question? You
What'd you
think
say?
they're a distraction for what is the question?
Get to the cargo.
It
Dummy.
could be. Hey, I ain't the brains here, I'm just the brawn. And he pushes his glasses up a little more.
The word is that that's where the restock will be. They're gonna try to get to it. I think they're upset, as most people are, about the rations being cut.
He kind of just leans his head back and says, I want food. Hey,
Like when he starts singing, she kind of like zones off again. 'Cause she's
And
hearing singing, but she's not hearing him singing.
he actually leans a little forward towards you and says, Oi, you think if we get there before them, we could snag a crate or two of food? Think they'll have any amasek or good wine?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, it's only a good idea if we don't get caught, and if we do, and he reaches into his chest pocket and pulls out his badge. It's a contraband search.
You know that's not how I do things. The Emperor would not approve. And you should be careful about what you say. If you say things like that around other people.
He kind of just puts his badge back and does the finger thing of about to say something and says, well, okay.
While he's trying to think of something to say, she kind of zones off again, and then she's like muttering to herself again, like under her breath. Maybe this time he makes it out that she's saying like a prayer, and then she stops, and then she looks back up.
And yeah, he looks down at her and kind of just looks around a bit and says, well, how are we going to do this? Going hard, kill them all, or?
I think we get to the ringleader. He's the source, he's the one controlling them all. If we can get to him, make him stop, make him call it off.
Cut the head off a serpentine, the rest will fall. Makes sense. Well, we should get ready. You're, not exactly dressed for combat, are you?
Well, I had to make sure they wouldn't know who I was.
He kind of nods his head a bit and shrugs.
She's probably like wearing casual wear with like a hat and has like her hair in a ponytail. Like she's trying to look like inconspicuous, I guess.
He's definitely not wearing anywhere as inconspicuous as that. He's wearing his regular glasses, no hat, just his trench coat, which everyone else wears. And he's like, you know, you really stand out wearing that. How many people do you see wearing baseball caps with a ponytail that aren't in the Vox vids?
That's the point. I'm supposed to look like one of them.
And he like puts his hands together like, oh my god, she's not getting the point. She's super conspicuous like this. It's not a movie. And he just basically gives up on you for that part. You can tell he deflates a bit in defeat. Like, all right, well, I'm going to get my armor on, get me shotgun, and, well, whoever gets to him last pays the tab at the bar I go to.
All right. Deal. She takes off the hat and like hands it to him, like pushes it up against his chest.
And he kind of catches it with one hand and puts it on slightly to the side. So it's like, how do I look? Am I in disguise? Can you tell I'm me?
She rolls her eyes at him and she's like, you're such a goof. You know we're on a job and you'd never take it seriously.
Well, if the Emperor wanted me to take things seriously, he would have made me that way, would he not have? Maybe
Perhaps.
he has a sense of humor.
Maybe that's why he put me with you. Make sure that whatever it is that you're doing.
Or maybe
kill
he's
you.
trying to teach you how to laugh.
She looks at him and she doesn't really smile because she never smiles. She just looks at him a little bit and then she spaces off again. And then
he actually looks
her
kind
mouth
of,
starts moving, but she doesn't say anything.
you can tell he's like looking at her expecting. It's like, is she going to do it? Is she? Oh no, never mind. She's just gone crazy again.
And then she comes back to him.
Yeah, and when you come back to, he's already opening up the stall door and slowly slipping out. And all right, I'll be on our personal communication channel. If you need me, radio me. If anything pops up, let me know. I'll be over as fast as possible, and you'll probably have them all dead by the time I get there. But let me know.
All right. She waits for him to leave for a little bit. Then she goes and she'll go back to her quarters, change gear, and head on over.
Yeah. So when she changes gear, what does she change into? What does this look like?
Yeah, she's wearing something completely different now. She kind of has her Adeptus Arbitus like armor and uniform on, and it's like a probably dark black. I imagine that's what she's fully wearing, and she's just ready to go. Oh, and I think she has Tempestus Carapace.
Yes,
that she has on her.
So,
yeah, that's over her other armor, and she's carrying like a rod, like a force rod that's like behind her.
Which, just so everyone is aware, Maggie's not squishy. She is actually the second most armored person in the party, aside from the Space Marine.
Yeah, that's our full cast right there.
But so the Tempestus armor is heavy combat armor for a regular human. You've seen people in full out armor more so than you. You know, your armor is built to be heavy armor, but with mobility.
Mm-hmm.
So it covers everything perfectly fine, but with a couple openings like on the side, by the elbows and the like, just so you can move around much more easily and more fluidly. But as you make your way out of your room now, fully decked in combat, not too far away, you actually see another RBD's officer, now in his okay-looking armor. It looks like he doesn't really clean it or take care of it as often as he should, but he is easily spottable above the heads of everyone else, as he's about a foot or two taller than most of the crew members on the ship. And he just gives you a quick wave of his hand as Willy Boy heads off to his duty station to root out Go Ushi.
She waves her hand as well, and she heads out as well.
And you hear a slight crackle in your ear as your Vox turns on, or your Vox feed, which is the communicator in your ear. Justin testing, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Will you smile? Probably not.
I hear you.
Good. Just a short answer as you see him just waving at you as he's walking backwards, bumping into some people.
She like rolls her eyes at him like, oh my gosh, how is he alive? And then keeps going on her way.
Question. If we ever do a prequel, the story of Willy Boy and Ostara, it's just a story of you constantly saving him.
Yeah, probably. But he tanks a bunch before I have to save him.
Oh yeah. Now, where exactly are you going to be headed off to?
I guess we're gonna both try to capture the ringleader, and convince him to stop what they're doing. So yeah.
Are you going to attempt to capture or kill? The captain and basically the chain of command, the lieutenant that you are directly under on this ship, who basically hired you as a bounty hunter / Pinkerton agent to keep peace, basically said, only kill if necessary. If it is somebody who is leading the riots, doesn't matter. Do whatever you have to do, alive or dead.
Okay. Then she will try not to kill him.
Okay.
But if she has to, she will.
Yeah. So she knows you have full authority. If you have to put people down, you can. There will just be paperwork later. Yeah, so Go Ushi is on the lower decks of the ship from what you know of. The ship itself is about 2 kilometers long and about 1 kilometer just up to down, and another kilometer wide. So it's pretty big. The lower quarters are where most of the slaves are kept. The scum, those who unfortunate passengers who were unable to pay their fare and are being kept on the ship for some of them. Go Ushi is actually one of those people. He used to be a well-to-do bounty hunter, but he fell on hard times and unfortunately was not able to pay his full passage on the ship. And he was hoping to sneak off the ship before anybody noticed. However, the last 3 stops did not allow him to escape. And he's basically been caught as being a non-payer on the ship. You know from your personal knowledge, he likes to hang out in the undership near one of these sewer systems. It's a sewer recycling plant. So he has relatively good access to fresh water and the like.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of make my way into like the Undercity, and I look around to see if I see anyone else around me before I flop open one of the sewer what do you call them?
Grates?
What did you call? What did you say?
A grate?
Yeah, the
a sewer grate.
Before I plop open one and like climb in.
Yeah. As you're making your way down, the festivities have already begun on the midship level, where there's a main thoroughfare, small road that leads from one end of the ship to the other. As you're slowly taking a elevator down a couple deck levels, you can hear people partying and just generally being more happy than usual. For once, the rowdiness isn't a riot, it's free beer. And as you go level by level lower into the ship, you hear less and less of these festivities. When the door finally opens near the bottom of the ship, you're still a good 10 decks from the bottom of the ship. You are greeted with the scent of rust and the like, general decay. As you slowly make your way towards one of the sewer grates, you're able to open it with relative ease. It looks like this has been opened aplenty. And are you used to the smell of sewers?
Probably.
In this case, this one's not used as much as the ones that would be above deck. So it's more of a older stench.
Probably not before I was on the ship, but now that I've been on the ship and I've been undercover for a while, I've gotten used to it, I think, now.
Yeah. And you know that there's a quick route that you can take using the sewers to get to the waste treatment plant and the recycling plant. Now, roll a quick investigation for me.
All right, will do. Investigation. Oof, that's not a very good roll.
Okay. Yeah, you know that seldom it's used by the undergangers of the ship itself. So you'll be fine.
Yeah, sure.
All right. It takes you a couple minutes to get further and further towards the waste treatment plant. You're able to tell you're getting closer simply because, while it is a sewer pipe, it is big enough for people to walk in. You actually run across a few servitors cleaning the pipe. And a servitor is basically a augmented human.
Yeah.
Yes. And it is not a good fate. Actually, I want you to roll another investigation for me. Let's see what you know about the ones that you run into. I'll give you difficulty 3.
Would that be more? Okay. Yeah, I guess if it's investigation.
And this is just more. You
3.
pass it, however, something bad does happen. And I'll just decide what that is, but it won't be anything major. Yeah.
The robot turns to me and laser eyes me. I'm just
He
kidding.
laser eyes you at the end. New character, guys. We'll
Rip.
introduce her next week. Yeah, so as one of the servitor passes you, this one is very simple. It has what looked like scaffolding attached to its legs and to its spine, and it's wobbling side to side. They're conscious, but they have no control of their body.
Yeah.
And you can see it in their eyes.
It's worse than what I am.
Far worse of a fate, as this person looks ancient. They are simply kept alive, simply to function as a soulless yet conscious automaton.
Ostara walks by, kind of staring at it and just saying a prayer. But this time it's like she's saying the prayer that's in her head, but out loud, and it's audible and intelligible.
Yeah, and you know the bad thing, of course, is it slushes waste around and it gets on your shoes. So, not really important for a bad thing.
Stop
here.
for a moment. Look at the servitor, and kind of just make eye contact.
It doesn't turn its head or anything, as it's obviously cleaning, so it's pushing in a slow, meticulous, tedious motion as it walks, just this large broom that seems to be foaming with chemicals. And it simply walks you by.
I keep walking.
All right. After a short while...
That was gross.
Very. After a short while, you hear the sound of machinery. You are here. In front of you is a small intersection. You can go forward towards the light or to the right. You know that if you go forward, it comes out to a large open area in front of the refinery. If you go to the right, you can enter the refinery itself.
Go forward then.
All right. So as you go forward, I want you to make a quick awareness for me. Let's see what you see down there.
4.
Perfect. And you also rolled a good thing. So you're spot on for what you need to see. You see a few dozen people down there. It's a large cargo opening in front of the entrance to this recycling plant, which is turning wastewater into drinkable water. There is somebody standing on a crate, talking to the few dozen people around. You recognize this person as not Go Ushi themselves, but one of their lieutenants. And they are definitely attempting to stir up people for what is about to happen.
Okay.
And you tell me what other good thing happens.
They don't notice me.
Oh, 100%. Okay. Yeah, nobody notices you whatsoever as you're looking out of the open pipe for this.
Yeah,
below you is
I'm going to climb out of it.
Yeah, and below you is a small reservoir, which you're able to actually get to the side of instead of going directly into it.
Okay.
And yeah, there's plenty of cover here. Scattered boxes, whether they're full or empty, doesn't really matter to you particularly. They are made of metal, and they will stop most slug rounds from a auto gun, which are sometimes what these people are armed with. Usually they have clubs and knives.
I am going to kind of walk towards the crowd, listening while they're not paying attention to me, and listen in on what he's saying to them, and then I may interject.
Yeah. You don't know the name of this lieutenant. They're a relative no name. They're not one of the big people. But you can hear them obviously repeating a prepared script. And as you walk up, you're catching about the middle to end of their rallying cry. And he's shouting, "We'll take what is ours. We do the work on the ship. We deserve better treatment."
I am going to clink my staff on the floor.
As you do so, everyone slowly turns around towards you as it's a loud, audible metal on metal clink.
Trying to make a loud noise, yeah.
Yeah. And he looks at you and says, "What do you want?"
For you to shut up.
"Why don't you make me?"
I'd be happy to. But I think I have something better.
One of the people in the crowd themselves are made of fairly skinny, worn-looking people. They're barely wearing clothes. Most of them are ragged or in what look like potato sacks. And one of the people says, "What do you want here? We just want food. If you got food to offer us, we'll take it and leave your body here."
Be careful what you say. And she like looks at all of them. And then she pauses for a moment and she has like she mumbles a little bit.
I want you to roll intimidation.
Oh hell yeah, I'm in.
I also want you to roll it with a extra on it. So put one bonus die on it.
Add an extra onto it.
So on the...
Or you can do bonus die?
Yep. Bonus die, you would just take it up one.
So it's intimidation. You just take a bonus die. Did that
Oh yeah, no, you
okay.
pass. It was a difficulty 4, so you can shift one of your dice if you want to.
Okay. I think that I improved the quality of my intimidation.
So what are you trying to disperse them?
I think she's trying to scare them into not taking action on whatever this guy says. So she'll follow with like a little speech type of thing as well.
Okay. Well, most of the people are willing to flee at any moment if you pushed.
What he says to you are lies. If you do what he wants you to do, you will be going against what the Emperor wants from us. Together we work together to make sure we get where we need to go. If we must, just as you lose your rations, I lose mine. It is not one person survives. It is all of us. What he wants to say and what he wants you to do is commit crimes. I know you are all better than that. So go home. Do your jobs. So we all get where we need to go safely. Or you will find yourselves unable to do any of that because you will not be alive. And she just waits to see who runs away.
Yeah. Actually, all of the people except for the lieutenant begin to slowly shift away, kind of muttering to themselves as you're speaking. And you can see a couple people not running, but simply leaving. But the man on the crate, you hear, and you see him leering at you and says, "Fuck the Emperor, what has he ever done for me?"
Choose your next words wisely.
Fuck you. And you see him reaching towards his hip.
I will yell heretic at him, and I am going to use my crush ability to try to crush his weapon and his hand.
You are
4.
all right. 4 is a hit. Roll your damage on that.
Where do I roll it?
Actually,
Oh,
so,
yeah, there's a second section for the damage. I think that's this.
I thought you were going to smite him.
Oh no, 1. I do have smite, yeah.
All right. So actually, a 1 on this case is good.
Okay.
Because you have your crush
none on
plus
damage.
1 damage.
Okay.
Yeah, let me take a look at that because I'm pretty sure it's like 1d10.
It is. It's a DR10.
Yeah. So you do 10 flat damage.
Okay.
Plus 1, so you do 11 damage
so
in total.
Yeah. Cool. 11 damage.
I don't know why it came out as non. Weird.
But it does say DR10 on there too, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just looked at your sheet. Let me check his health real quick because you might actually just flat out kill him. Yes. Do you want? You are doing well over his damage threshold. He's not wearing armor, so his resilience is only 5. You are doing 5 over his resilience. He's going to take 5 damage. He only has 2 shock and 1 wound, which means if you want, you can just murder him.
I don't think I was trying to murder him. I was just trying to crush the gun and his hand. Remember?
Yeah. Tell me everything that happens for that.
Yeah. She just like holds out her staff and says heretic at him. And then he just feels his hand and his weapon being crushed into a moldy ball.
Yeah. And when
a metal flesh ball.
Yeah, when you use your focus rod, is there anything visible that happens, or
no?
Oh, that's even more terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he screams and falls to the ground, unable to move his arm, as it's essentially.
And I just walk towards him, and I just like, as I'm walking towards him, I just clink the staff on the ground.
Yeah. As he's screaming, his hand molded to the gun, which is still in its holster. His arm now twisted and mangled in a ball to his side. As he's screaming, looking down at it, and looking back up at you. They have all fled. Nobody now remains here.
Yeah. She's like, get up.
And roll intimidate. Let's see if he's able to. If you scare him into ignoring his pain.
Okay. 4.
Yes, but something does happen. There is a complication.
Okay.
So yes, he begins to stand up and he's looking at you. What happens? You tell me the complication that happens now.
Ooh. He stands up, but he's looking somewhere else because there's someone else there.
Yes. I love it because that was also what I was going to say.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, he's looking somewhere else, and it is because there is another guard there. One of the other gang members of this undership gang.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pointing his gun at you.
I don't even like turn to look. I just say, I would put that down if I were you.
I'm going to make you roll intimidation so much because you're just intimidating.
Yeah, sure. That's why I put points in it. 8. Holy shit.
But something bad happens again. Perfect.
Oh, God.
However, you are above the threshold again. So you can shift once more.
I would like to, I guess, improve the quality.
He drops his gun.
Yeah. Nice.
He drops his gun, but the gun does go off.
Discharges. Okay.
And he's running away. You hear just the loud bang and a flash as a slug goes by you, between you and the man that you're talking with. and slams into the wall.
Do I have to see a person to do something to them?
No.
I would
just need to know their general
I would
area.
like to smite this person.
All right.
All right. How it goes. Holy shit. 12.
All right. So, because this is combat, you well pass his everything. You can shift for extra damage, which is a whole extra damage dice.
I guess.
So,
sure.
Yeah. Roll your damage against him.
Okay. So I get an extra dice, so I add a dice here.
No, my Zoom froze.
I add a bonus dice.
Yes, 1 bonus die for your shifted extra damage.
And that is...
So that is going to be 11. Oh, wait. What's your smite? What's the damage on it?
It says... If hit, the target suffers 1d3 mortal wounds.
Roll 1d3 plus 1.
Two. And how this looks is actually from the force rod, lightning comes out of the eye of it, and it just follows, like it's almost like a homing beacon of like lightning. And
Tell me
the
how you
energy
kill him.
bolt races and just like whoop, zaps him.
Yeah, because a mortal wound bypasses shock. It completely ignores it. He only has 2 wounds. You kill him flat out.
And he just kind of like jolts and falls over.
Poor guy. All he was doing was protecting his buddy. Yeah, so he jolts and falls over. And the man in front of you is now stumbling backwards as this bolt lightning erupted past him, and he's attempting to flee.
Well, I'm standing in front of him, so I'm going to be like, I would not do that if I were you, or you will suffer the same fate as him.
All right, let's roll another intimidation. These poor guys, they just want food.
I know. I'm sorry. 7.
Okay. Yeah, no, he is in the process of turning around as you speak.
This is over the amount, right?
Well over, yeah.
I'd like to gain information from him.
All right.
I say to him, good. Stay there. Now tell me, where can I find Goichi?
She's already by the hangars. We were just getting more people. They're already all out there. Just let me go. And he's like groaning in pain as he's trying to flail his arm back and forth. And he's holding one up in front of you and says, and is just begging for his life now.
I stand above him and I clank the staff in front of him again twice on the floor, and I look down at him and I say, how do you feel about the Emperor now?
All praise to him. He's the God Emperor of mankind. He is the savior of us all.
Remember that. He is the one who gives you mercy today. And she says a prayer, like she's fucking creepy, and then she sings a hymn to him, the hymn that's in her head. She sings aloud to him a line of it, and then she walks away and keeps singing the hymn as she's walking away, because that's creepy AF, and I love it.
That's super fucking creepy. What was the hymn about? Who was it about?
Probably God Emperor. I don't know. I tried to look up a bunch of like hymns and prayers, but I couldn't find any good ones.
Oh, I just make them up.
Send me a bunch if you know where there's some.
Oh, praise the God Emperor. He's fantastic. Yeah. He's a real swell guy.
Someone in chat's like, good lord.
Yes.
Hey, man. She went from being interrogated by them to now she's all for it. Because she got
terrifying.
She got brainwashed.
Just a little
She's a robot.
All right. Yeah, so he gave you the information. Go Ushi is already heading towards the hangar. with a
over
group of people.
Over the comms, I will let Wilmer know.
All right. And you just get the quick crackleback of him just saying, Roger that. All right, well, looks like I'm going to be running over there. I am nowhere close.
I will be on my way, she says. And she's going to report the other guy who died.
Just another piece of scum dead. Oh, well. Hey. One moment, something's happening. And you hear the radio turn off in your ear.
She kind of taps her ear a couple times. And she's like, Wilmer?
You don't get an immediate response as you're walking down the
we probably have code names instead of that.
Probably. What is his code name?
Oh, man.
Jester.
Yeah, that's a good one for him, Jester. Yeah, she's like, Jester?
You don't get an immediate response.
Okay. I will quicken my pace then, even though I'm not very fast.
You're normal human speed.
I know. I'm saying.
Oh. Guess all of us humans are super slow. Thanks, Maggie.
No problem.
Rude. Yeah, so where are you headed to now?
To where I think he's at. Goishi.
Yeah, so Go-Ushi is... You generally know they're heading towards the hangar. So if you head in that general direction, you will run into them undoubtedly.
Yeah, I'm headed
where
that way,
Willy Boy is... Or Jester. I'm going to call him Jester now. Where he is, you're uncertain. You did hear in your earpiece a lot of people talking, and it did sound like there was a little bit of a celebration going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I assume he's up there, because I went down in the sewers, so he probably is going up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were both searching for the same dude, so.
About 15 minutes pass as you continue walking, making your way through the undership, which is in various states of disrepair. There's rust. Clearly, the tech wastes don't come down here very often, and the machine spirit is most likely not happy that its underbelly is going to waste.
Yeah.
But about 15 minutes of you walking, you're heading up through a lateral elevator. It's a small personal one for only one person. And your Vox chimes on. And it's Wilbur, and he says, there's been an explosion. Don't head towards the hangar.
Where?
The hangar. It's a trap. Someone's attacking the ship. Don't know who.
I will see what I can find. I'm headed that direction.
All right. I'm sure that I'm getting people to safety.
Be careful.
I won't do my best on that.
You never do.
Just like that time that you let me get shot. And you immediately hear, like, it click off.
Idiot.
Like, he does not wait for the response to click off.
And she's gonna head towards the hangar where supposedly there's an explosion or something.
Yeah. And after a short time, you feel a little vibration in the shaft itself, and a red light turns on, and there's a quick little scrolling bar at the top, which just in broken light says, emergency stop, exit. And the doors open in front of you.
Damn it. She steps out, and she's gonna hasten her step and try to head towards the same direction.
Yeah. You are in the middle quarters area at the moment. Not too far from where you would be stationed if you weren't undercover. Mm-hmm. It's an okay-ish looking area. There in front of you, as you exit the elevator, are dozens of other people getting off their own personal elevator vessels as well. And just looking around, confused. Clearly the same message. You haven't heard any of the Vox casts come from the.
What's the normal protocol for people to get to safety?
For safety, these people have no idea what's going on, so they don't know.
But I would know the protocol because I'm like part of the police force.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
You would know that on this ship, it's fairly unique where it has something called a savior pod. Most of the non-crew members have been assigned one, and that is simply because you've been briefed on this a dozen times of the captain does not like non-crew members aboard the ship if there is a battle or a fight or if pirates attack.
So
you will be
the general
up.
populace would not have a protocol.
That is correct. So
Okay.
you go to your duty station. And the duty station for non-crew is the life pods.
Okay, so I would tell them to go to their life pods.
Yes. So tell me how you do that.
Yeah, so I guess I come out and I kind of I'm hasting my step, but I see all these people stepping out and they look confused. I'm like, be careful, there's been an explosion. Go to your safety pods. Go. Tell people along your way.
Yeah, and I want you to make a friendly skill check for that. Let's see how
Leadership?
these people listen to leadership, please.
2.
And- Okay. A few of them just
Can I
kind
spend
of
like a glory point or wrath point or something like that?
Yes.
What does that give me?
So a glory point, you would need to declare it before, but I'll let you do it now.
Okay.
You increase the dice pool, and a wrath point, I believe you are able to up something. You can re-roll a failure. So you can re-roll if you want.
Okay.
Or
Would
you
that
can use a wrath point to make a narrative declaration. Which is
Ooh.
basically, you can say, here, I'm going to
Narrative
share.
declaration. I hold out my badge.
Ooh. I mean, you don't need to declare that. You can just do that.
Oh, okay.
But you can say the narrative declaration everyone notices.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. So in that case, I'm going
They
to
notice
lower.
as I hold my badge up.
Yeah, so you hold your badge up. I'm going to lower the difficulty number
They
to
probably
2 on
don't
that from 3.
Believe what I'm saying, but maybe. I don't know.
No, they easily hear you. But you were just a random person shouting, get to your saber pods. So difficulty 3, you have your badge up. Difficulty 2. You also gain stuff because you did an objective.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the people look at you confused at first, and then you pull out your badge and say, get to your safety pods, people, again. And they slowly, not in a rush, begin to head that direction.
Mm-hmm. They will as soon as more explosions start happening.
Oh, indeed. And yeah, what do you do?
I am quickly going towards the explosion like an idiot.
Yeah. So are you walking, running?
She's hastening her steps, so yeah, running.
Okay. So as you're running towards there, the closer you get towards the hangar, you're still in a relatively secluded area. Or not a secluded area, but a relatively small area. The passageways are meant for only 2 people side by side. And there are dozens of people running the opposite direction of you. What are you doing to these people as they're trying to pass you in this small corridor?
I'm letting them through and I'm telling them to go to their pods.
Yep. A lot of these people are, you can't tell if they're crew or passengers. But yeah.
I guess I would say duty station or pod or whatever, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but these people are rushing in the direction you're trying to go. So they're...
I'm pushing through them, trying to get through.
All right. I want you to make a quick... I'm going to call it a athletics check. Unless you're trying to scare people out of the way.
Ooh, I probably would do that, but yeah. We can say initially I tried to push people out of my way.
Yeah, roll intimidation. Are you trying to use your badge?
Yeah, I think that if pushing my way through, I'm not successful. She just like starts yelling at people.
Yeah, if you're using your badge, put an extra bonus die on that.
Ooh, oh, I didn't put the extra
Oh,
bonus
you
die.
pass anyways. Don't
Okay.
worry. Yeah, as soon as you hold up your badge in front of you, people start to kind of make a bubble around you as they filter to one side as you're running through them.
Yeah.
You're still bumping into people a lot,
Sure.
and your Voxby comes back to life. And this time it's a ship-wide message from the captain, and you hear it in your other ear as well as it's a going throughout the ship on all the sounds megaphones that work, and it's Captain Dekan, and she says, "All non-crew personnel, or yes, all non-crew personnel, abandon ship."
You better get it right, Frank. Continuity.
I did.
4th episode. No, I'm just kidding with you.
I'll get it right eventually.
As soon as I hear that, it's almost like robotically she turns and she changes her objective.
Yeah, and so you know where your savior pod is. It is in the general direction that these people are running, and
She is lawful question mark?
Lawful question mark?
Because I don't know what 40K would be.
All right. First off,
Yeah.
you are a Arbides officer.
Yeah.
You are the law.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear a quick blip on your Vox speed, and it's the way that Jester tells you that he wants to say something, but he's unable to actually open the channel himself. So you have to open it.
I open the channel.
All right. So as soon as you open it up, it comes to life on his, because his hands are busy most likely, and he says, "All right. Well, I'm not able to get to my pod. I'm directing people out at the moment. Funny enough, just ran into a fucking Catachan, even though we had one of those on here. I'm up by the mid quarters.
I'm
You
in.
get.
Where am I? I'm like in the.
You're not too far away from him.
Okay.
So if you wanted to, you could run to him, or you could run to your savior pod. You can do both. But
I'm on the mid corridors as well, but we've just gotten the call to go to our pods. You should go.
I'll go once everyone else is gone. Don't worry, that
Don't
thing
be
has
an
5
idiot.
seats.
You're not the savior. Just get in the pod.
Of course I'm not a savior. But these people, well, they might need a savior. And hey, it might pay. Might get tips. Might get drinks. And you can hear him chuckling as he breaks off.
She's like,
and you
rolling her
can
eyes.
tell he's not talking to you now, as he's mentioning something to someone. Just get to safety as fast as you can. Don't worry. Your personal belongings will still be here. And after a couple seconds, he comes back to focusing on you. And
I'm making my way to my pod as he's talking to me.
And as you're making your way there, he's basically chatting with you and just breaks off with you.
I'll probably shout at people too to tell them to get to their pods as I'm walking. Same, holding out my badge.
Yeah, you are actually doing a great job of just getting people towards where they need to go instead of running in random directions. And he said, just over the radio says, "Don't worry. Each Savior pod has 5 seats. 4 passengers, 1 pilot. Guess what? I'm the pilot. I'll be there. Don't worry about it."
Is he saying that to me or to other people?
To you, over the Vox feed.
Hopefully we don't crash if you're the pilot.
That was one time, and it was not fully my fault. Only partially.
That's what you like saying, but it's not true.
My foot was off the brake. Wasn't my fault. And he breaks off with you as the ship itself lurches, which is something you know is not a good thing. You're able to hear a very loud explosion, the vibration going through your feet and through your bones. You reach your savior pod. There's only a few people left in this area. The door to your pod is still open. Do you approach?
Yeah.
All right. And you hear just over your radio one more time. All right. You're going to hate me for this. I lied. I'm too far away.
I immediately am going to try to scry to see where he's at.
He is midship. There are only a few dozen people around him now, and they are all running. He is, however, helping carrying someone in his arms. This older lady, as her husband is slowly walking next to him. And you can tell as he's holding her with one arm, he's pushing down on his vox beat so they don't hear him as well. You're gonna have to go without me. Don't worry. They'll jettison the savior pawns. I'll still be on board. I just go to my room or I'll drink myself to sleep.
She comes back to from the scrying, and she stands in the doorway of her pod, and she's like, "You're such an idiot. Why'd you do that? These old people, they're not even going to live for very long. You still...
All lives for the Emperor are important, are they not?"
Okay, you win.
All right. Get in there, get launched, I'll be in my cabin. Don't worry, it's probably nothing. Pirates.
I don't know. Something about this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And as you enter the savior pod, you notice there's already several people in here. There's somebody by the pilot seat who looks to be a Imperial commissar. There's a man here dressed in a tank top with flat top blonde hair. There's a space marine. There's two seats next to the man in the tank top and the space marine, but
I sit down as far as I can away from everyone else, and before I like step in, I'm like, they put such weird people together. And then I go in and I sit down.
Yeah. And as you sit down, the ship shakes once more. A far larger explosion than the previous ones. You can feel heat slowly growing. A klaxon sounds in the savior pod itself, and the door begins to automatically shut.
I'm gonna go back into scrying. So she just like immediately, her eyes roll back. That's not creepy at all.
Yeah. And what are you trying to see?
Where Holtz is.
He is near what would appear to be a triage center. People who have stayed aboard the ship, taking care of the injured. He was able to make it there with the two people in hand. And he would appear to be helping others.
Okay. And then I come back to you.
Yep. And as you come back to, you're no longer attached to the Vandervulf. This savior pod itself is shaking as the main engine kicks on and begins to jettison the savior pod away from the ship. Slowly, you feel yourself growing lighter as the artificial gravity of the Vandervulf fades. And you find yourself floating in the blackness of space.
I did say I buckled myself in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I figured.
Yeah.
And that's where we end.
Sweet. Woo. Perfect. Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, at least
All right.
the ending wasn't as sad.
No, the ending was much happier than the beginning, which is not surprising to
I don't know
me.
how many people are still alive or what, but
There's thousands of dead people.
yeah, I'm sure. I don't know what's happening. But I guess we'll find out on the next episode. So we hope that you enjoyed the prequel of Ostara. And if you haven't watched the prequels for the other episodes, or you're just tuning in and you're just catching the glimpse of the end of this, this will be up on YouTube tomorrow. We usually do a premiere over there, so you can watch it as a group there, and then forevermore it will be available. Beyond that, we have 3 other prequels. If you want to go watch the other characters, they're all awesome. Look at these people. They're so cool. Look at all the characters. But yes, all the prequels will have been done now, and next episode will be the first episode with the entire cast. Now that you've gotten to know like who they were before, and that they don't maybe know each other at all, and they are stuck on a life pod together, what chaos will ensue?
And that's going to be 8 episodes, by the way, of just them stuck on this life pod. Shenanigans all about. Welcome to Unsung Fury, a Warhammer 40K rom-com comedy.
No.
Oh, Mr. Commissar, I'm but a Katachan. Please don't kiss me there.
But if you enjoyed this, of course, give us a good follow on the Twitch here so you don't miss out on the future ones. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell so you can get notifications. I'm sure they're going to add another 3rd thing by the time we have another episode. Just like, why? Why can't it just be you subscribe to a thing and then you get the message that
just
someone
get the notification.
put
Just
the
bring
thing
it back
out? Jeez. Yeah. So, and if you want to follow me on all of the other social medias so you don't miss out on all the other things, I'll just toss that link in there. You can just go ahead and click on all those things, subscribe, like, follow, everything. I don't know. It's Margaret Crone everywhere. It's super easy. The YouTube channel for the game stuff is Margaret Crone Plays, though. And I think that's all I've got on this end. Of course, I'm going to toss it over to Frank so you can know where you can find him at, and, of course, give him a follow.
Hi, I'm Frank, or
also, what
that
was your
guy
favorite
over
moment tonight, Frank?
there. No, I was going to ask you that when I was done with this.
Damn.
No, you get to say that first after I do my outro. I'm Controller Frank. You can find me at Controller Frank on basically everything. I don't stream often. It's been a little while, but I might start streaming world building and character building for this soon, so you guys can influence how I kill Maggie and Scott. Hashtag vote now.
We did talk about that. I was like, ooh, maybe you could do that on the channel too. We'll have to figure out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there might be some world building here. I have a general idea, but if you guys want to help me and learn spoilers on how what the hell is going on here, I will reveal more on that in some GM talk. But all right, Maggie, what was your favorite moment?
You're not gonna say what your favorite moment was?
No, I'm going to do that after you.
Oh, after you're waiting. See. Huh. Ooh, I don't know. I kind of liked a lot of it. I think I have 2 favorites. One for the first half, which I think is just how, I think just like you did a really good job of respectfully
torturing a small child.
Respectfully torturing a character, I think, is the best way to put it that way. For anybody who's just tuning in, they're like, what? If you don't know the world of Warhammer, psychers it is not a pleasant thing. And I think that we did that really respectfully in a way that is viewable and watchable and not terrible.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's much darker than that, I think, than we even expressed, but I think you did a really good job of playing out those scenes and like having those fast forwards and making it all feel really fluid. I think that was really cool. And then the second half, I just love how funny Wilmer was. So I probably love the interaction between Wilmer and
He's dead now.
I'm kind of sad that there won't be more.
No, he's alive. We saw him last we saw him, he was alive. Which, by the way, for
it's because you want to play him again. You want him to come back later at some point.
No, it's because for everyone, if you have watched every prequel, you will know that there has been a RBD's officer in the mid-quarters guiding people to safety. That was Wilbur the entire time.
Aw, perfect.
And
I like that.
I put that Easter egg in episode 1, and I've kept him in every one since.
Oh, that's true. He was in all of them.
Yes, he was. He is actually in more episodes than all of our actual players.
Yay, go Wilmer.
Go, yeah.
He still didn't make her smile.
My favorite moment, though, was... I've multiple favorite moments.
Okay.
The entire prequel, the pre-prequel, the entire interrogation scene was fantastic, in my opinion. This guy trying to trick you, you rolled a fucking 11 out of nowhere. Just these highly trained interrogator, inquisitor, super high trained. Just you're an 8-year-old girl. Don't have to worry about it. We'll just get this information from her. We'll read her mind when she's not paying attention. We'll watch her through the two-sided mirror, or the one-sided mirror. No, you fucked all their plans up. And it worked perfectly for me because that's how you got your implant.
Yeah.
It actually worked out perfectly story-wise.
I wasn't sure how, like, I was like, I know that the character wouldn't say much in this situation, so I was trying to, like, be descriptive about, like, what she was doing, like, her actions, because even though she wasn't responding to them with their questions, because she knows that, like, if he's reading her mind, then whatever she's thinking, he's gonna know. That's why she kept trying to think of, like, her grandfather dying. She just had to keep replaying that in her head. I think that was her safety net, is, like, if I just keep thinking that, then they'll leave me alone.
Weird how you had a voice in your head, though, during the trial. What was that about?
Yeah, what was that
Your
about?
grandfather's body and he's a powerful psyker? Oh, there's something going on. But we'll find out about that maybe someday. Maybe.
Maybe when he tries to convince me again and I am like,
Nah.
I kill him and I kill my grandfather. That's probably what you've planned, you evil, horrible person. She thinks he's a heretic.
Remember when I told you I was preparing emotional baggage?
No, I love it though. I love it. That would be
my
really...
second favorite moment was your interaction with the guy that I'm calling Ed, who was the lieutenant ringleader. Of just, you're basically just smacking him about. Let's be honest here. You went up to him, you just started smacking him back and forth. He had no chance.
I was trying to, like, figure out, like, okay, if I'm basically a police officer in this, I mean, I keep using police officer because I feel like that's the easiest way for real life, for people who don't know the world to understand. Like, it's more than police officer, it's like the law.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah. And just the horrifyingness of a psyker and, like, what, when people see them, what, like, you know, the combination is horrifying. So
yes, no, Maggie, you played a terrifying detective, undercover cop, Judge Dredd person.
I love it. I love it so
I feel so bad for that guy. By the way, the person you killed was his brother.
No.
Because if anybody was listening,
that guy's gonna have a vengeance for me.
I mean, he doesn't have a hand.
It's true. But in this world, you could get yourself in.
Yeah, you can. Fun fact: you can actually get your hand, that part cut off, and then get a cloned hand reattached, or you can get an augmentation for it.
Someone said she never looked at the guy she aced. That was spooky. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I thought that was cool.
I
was like, do I have to look at the person to kill them?
No.
Like, no. I was
you
like,
know where he
oh,
is.
Sweet then.
He's over there.
Yeah, I heard where he ran, so.
He was unarmed, though.
I know.
He was running away. You murdered him.
I know.
He didn't fire his gun. It malfunctioned when it hit the floor.
She didn't know that.
All right, everyone. That's Maggie's excuse for first-degree murder. I didn't know he didn't fire the gun while running away without a weapon.
I just heard a shot fire.
And then you just zap without even looking.
He shot at a police officer.
Well, rest in peace, that guy.
But yeah, we hope that you enjoyed it. I definitely did. This was really fun. I think we have a crazy badass group of characters together. I'm curious to see what Frank has for us as we float through space and land somewhere? Question mark. Probably not something nice.
The name for Go Ushi. Go Sushi.
Go Sushi. Oh, you just named him after the sushi.
I looked because I have on my phone a bunch of random names just pre-prepared.
Yeah.
And I looked down on my phone. My phone was in
a sleep mode.
Sleep mode. I was like, Go Ushi.
That's really funny. Well, we hope that you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next week, 7 p.m. PDT, right here, twitch.tv/MargaretCrone. And we will have the full entire cast for episode 1. You will not want to miss it. It's going to be chaos. If you're interested in Warhammer,
chaos in more ways than one.
Make sure you let all your friends know. Post it in other places. Let people know. Send them the trailer so that they can come watch it. And yeah, that'll be the launch of the show. And we're hoping to play as long as we possibly can for a really long campaign in Warhammer World. So hopefully you all enjoy it. And just a little quick announcement on the other fronts. Our Wednesday and Thursday show are canceled due to, the 4th of July holidays. But the next following week, we will be back as per usual doing our Monday, Wednesday, Thursday shows, all 7 p.m. PDT right here on this channel. And so we'll see you later. Toodaloo, everyone.
7 shows, guys.